Using JPAs and Hibernate second-level cache can improve the performance of your persistence layer. It acts as a session-independent entity store. Hibernate uses it whenever you call the find method on your entity manager or traverse an association to fetch a cached entity. Instead of executing a database query, Hibernate gets the entity object from the cache. That's a lot faster than executing a query. If you provide a query for reading data from your database, for example a JPQL query, your second-level cache will not be used, but you can use Hibernate's proprietary query cache to cache query results. Hi, I'm Torben Jansen. In this video, I will show you how you can use EHCache as Hibernate's second-level cache. But before we proceed, if you found this channel for the first time and you want to learn how to create your entity mappings with ease, build incredible efficient persistence layers with Hibernate and Spring, and all types of other Java persistence-related stuff, subscribe and click the bell to get new videos every week. And also don't forget to like this video to help me reach a broader audience. Okay, the first thing we need to do is to activate the second-level cache. As I explained in great detail in my Hibernate Performance Tuning online training, you activate the second-level cache by configuring the shared cache mode parameter in your persistence.xml. I recommend setting it to enable selective and annotating each entity class you want to cache with @cacheable. After you've done that, you need to provide a cache implementation. The cache itself is independent of your persistence provider. JPA and Hibernate only define an interface to the second-level cache. Because of that, there are various cache implementations available. EHCache is one of the most popular ones. Let's continue with a quick introduction to EHCache. EHCache is a very popular open source project available under the Apache 2.0 license. It's a multi-purpose, highly scalable cache implementation for Java applications. Typical use cases are in-process, application-level caches in single instance or cluster deployments, out-of-process caches, and Hibernate second-level cache. In this video, I will focus on EHCache as Hibernate second-level cache. The required configuration and dependencies to integrate EHCache with Hibernate depend on the EHCache version you want to use in your project. Hibernate provides a proprietary integration for the older EHCache 2.x releases. The newer EHCache 3.x releases implement the JCache specification. Hibernate provides a generic integration for all caches that implement that specification. Let's take a look at both of them. Hibernate's Hibernate EHCache module integrates EHCache 2.x as the second-level cache. After you have added the dependency, you need to configure a region factory. You can choose between EHCache region factory and Singleton EHCache region factory. The first one configures a cache manager for each of Hibernate's session factory instances. This is recommended when you use multiple Hibernate session factory instances in the same JVM. You can activate it by setting the hibernate.cache.region.factory class to EHCache. If you want to share the same cache manager instance among multiple session factory instances, you need to set that parameter to EHCache Singleton. This will activate the Singleton EHCache region factory. After you've done that, you should also configure your cache. I explain the most important configuration parameters at the end of this video. Since version 3, EHCache has been implementing the JCache specification. You can integrate it using Hibernate's Hibernate JCache module. It provides a generic integration for all JCache-compatible cache implementations. In addition to the dependency, you also need to add the hibernate.cache.region_factory class property to your persistence XML configuration and set it to JCache. Hibernate then uses the default JCache provider to create the default cache manager. It also uses a default configuration to create the caches. If you want to provide a configuration, which you should, you need to specify the cache manager and a path to the cache configuration in your persistence.xml file. By default, Hibernate stores each entity class in an individual region of the second-level cache. It uses the fully qualified class name as the region name. EHCache maps each region to a separate cache. You can configure each one of them in the ehcache.xml file. When you use EHCache, you need to configure the maximum size of your cache. You can do that by setting the max entries local heap or the max bytes local heap configuration attribute. In the previous example, max entries local heap is set to 1000. So the cache segment com.torben.janssen.author will accept up to 1000 author entity objects. Depending on your configuration, cache elements can expire. The time to live seconds attribute defines the maximum time an object stays in the cache. The time to idle seconds configuration attribute specifies the time after which an unused object gets removed. Based on the cache configuration in the previous example, an author entity expires if it hasn't been accessed for 300 seconds or after it stays in the cache for 600 seconds. When the cache exceeds its configured size, ehcache removes expired elements. If that doesn't clear up enough space, it evicts objects from the cache. By default, it removes the least recently used elements. You can change that policy using the memory store eviction policy configuration attribute. If you don't provide a configuration for each region, the region factory will log a warning and create the region itself. You can prevent the warning message by setting the hibernate.cache.ehcache.missingcache strategy configuration property for ehcache2.x or hibernate.javax.cache.missingcache strategy for ehcache3.x. You can choose one of the following: fail to throw an exception if a cache isn't configured, create warn, which is the default, to log a warning and to create a new cache, or create to create a new entity cache without logging a warning. If you decide to not configure your caches explicitly, you should provide a default cache configuration. It will be used for each of the dynamically created caches. ehcache is a popular and highly scalable cache. Hibernate provides two configurations to support ehcache as its second-level cache implementation. The integrations require almost no configuration. You only need to add the dependency and configure the region factory class to start using ehcache based on a default configuration. But it's best to provide your configuration and specify the size of your cache and if elements can expire. If you adjust these configuration parameters to your application, ehcache will act as a very efficient second-level cache for Hibernate. Okay, that's it for today. If you want to learn more about Hibernate, you should join the free member library. It gives you free access to a lot of member-only content like cheat sheets, ebooks, and a free video course. I'll add the link to it to the video description below. And if you liked today's video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe below. Bye!